The millionaire's daughter defied all odds. A maid's epic transformation at midnight. The clock struck midnight, and the old mansion was shrouded in shadows, an air thick with an eerie stillness. In the heart of this opulence, a maid named Clara stood frozen, her heart pounding like a war drum. The grand chandelier above flickered, casting ghostly patterns on the walls, as if whispering secrets of the night. What was supposed to be just another day of dusting and polishing had twisted into something inexplicably strange, something that felt like a premonition. Clara had always been the invisible thread in the lavish tapestry of the Hawthorne family's life, but tonight, everything was different. The silken curtains fluttered despite the windows being shut tight, and the heavy scent of roses filled the air as a chilling breeze circled around her. The moon poured through the glass, illuminating the silver candelabras that seemed to flicker as if alive. A shiver ran down Clara's spine. Perhaps it was just the draft, or maybe it was the weight of unanswered questions hanging in the air. Had she really heard the soft piano notes echoing from the parlor? It was odd. The grand piano hadn't been played for years, not since the last family gathering, where laughter and secrets mixed. But what if, just what if, the music was calling her? The thought chilled her, a fear curling in her gut. As she tiptoed through the ornate halls, the portraits of ancestors seemed to follow her every step, their eyes knowing more than they should. Clara's breath quickened. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed through the silence, breaking her reverie. Her heart raced as she rushed to the parlor, her hands trembling slightly. She opened the heavy door, and there it was. A glimmering shoe, discarded on the floor, with roses strewn around like fallen stars. Who had danced in here, unseen? Who wore these elegant shoes that seemed to pulsate with a life of their own? The mystery loomed in the air, wrapping around her like fog. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system, and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Clara bent down, her fingers brushing over the satin fabric, a jolt of energy surging through her. As she lifted the shoe, the air crackled electric and intoxicating. In that moment, she felt a deep connection, a tugging between two worlds. One of the opulent Hawthorne legacy, and the other, the life she lived, scrubbing floors in anonymity. The clock chimed again, and with each toll, a strange resolve ignited within her. Could she step out of the shadows? Or would the mansion's secrets pull her into darkness forever? As the moon brightened ominously, Clara sensed she was on the brink of something monumental. Would she uncover the truth of her transformation, or would a deeper, darker mystery engulf her? Her fate was unfurling, and the night was just beginning. Clara clutched the shoe, her heart racing as if it had turned to the relentless beat of a drum. The air shimmered around her, filled with an almost palpable anticipation. She wasn't just holding a piece of forgotten elegance, she felt the echoes of laughter, of love, of secrets hidden within the fabric. Goosebumps pricked along her skin as she grasped the gravity of the moment. Who did you belong to? She whispered into the silence, her voice barely above a breath. It felt as if the house itself was listening. A sudden gust of wind ruffled the nearby curtains, sending a chill racing through her. The soft piano notes played once more, drawing her deeper into the shadows of the parlor. Almost instinctively, she moved toward the music, inexplicably pulled to its source. As Clara approached the grand piano, she could see the dust settling on the keys like a light veil, untouched for years. But the melody continued to flutter in the air, haunting and beautiful. It felt like an invitation, an urging to unravel the enigma wrapped in silence. With trembling hands, she laid the shoe on the piano's polished surface. It gleamed under the moonlight, an otherworldly sparkle hinting at stories long buried beneath layers of opulence and dread. Her heart raced even more. What if the tales of the Hawthorne family were hidden, waiting for her to uncover? What is happening? Why now? She questioned, a knot tightening in her stomach as uncertainty gnawed at her confidence. The world around her dimmed momentarily, the music fading, replaced by an almost tangible silence. It felt like she wasn't just in the house anymore. She was in some liminal space where past and present collided, an echo of things that were not meant to be disturbed. And then it came a whisper that seemed to swirl around her, as if the very walls confided in her. "Find me," her breath caught. A sudden rush of cold air swept through the room, coursing like a tidal wave and knocking her backward. She stumbled, catching herself just as the piano erupted into a cacophony of wild notes. Clara's heart throttled in her chest, frozen between fear and fascination. She had stumbled onto something greater than herself, a ghost that lingered, waiting in the dark. Clara took a step back, instinctively searching the darkened corners of the room for the source of the energy thrumming through the mansion. Shadows danced on the walls, teased by the flickering candlelight. Every portrait seemed to bleed curiosity, their painted gazes piercing into her soul, urging her onward, as if to whisper truths long cloistered away. "What are you hiding?" she murmured, as the air thickened with tension. Suddenly, the door creaked open, revealing a figure clad in white, her face obscured by a cloud of cascading curls. Clara's heart plummeted into her stomach. The woman looked familiar, ethereal yet tragic, as if she had been plucked straight from a forgotten memory. "Help me," the woman pleaded, her eyes wide and frantic. Before it's too late, Clara's heart began to race even faster. Who was she? What did she want? A whirlwind of emotions quickened inside Clara, a fear of the strange, but fire ignited by curiosity. Would she dare to unearth the mystery that lay before her? As the woman's form shimmered, the shadows deepened around them, and the night held its breath. Would Clara grapple with the past, or withdraw into safety? The stakes had risen, and the mansion's long-held secrets were begging for release. But she had to decide fast. Midnight wasn't just a time, it was a deadline. And as Clara stood poised on the precipice of the unknown, the mansion seemed to whisper once more Clara's destiny had arrived. What would she choose to uncover? Clara felt her throat tighten as she gazed at the apparition before her. The woman's voice reverberated within the hollow chamber. "Help me." It echoed in Clara's mind, blending with the urgent notes of the piano, as if they were part of one desperate call. "Who are you?" Clara managed to whisper, her voice trembling. The ghostly figure took a step closer, her fingers outstretched, shimmering in the dim light. You have to find the locket." "It's the key." "What locket? Where?" Panic surged within Clara, mingling with a sudden, fierce determination. Maybe she was the one meant to solve this mystery, to bring peace to whatever spirit haunted this mansion. The figure's brow knitted in frustration, and Clara felt an overwhelming sense of sadness wash over her. His coming time is running out. The room dimmed as if a cloud had drifted across the moon, intensifying the shadows around them. Clara's breath quickened. Who was coming? What threat loomed in the darkness? The chilling air seemed to swirl around, grasping at her with unseen fingers. "Wait, I'll help you," she shouted, but the figure began to dissolve into the darkness. Her features bent until only her eyes remained dark, full of urgency and fear. "Find me." The last echo faded into a whispered breeze, merging with the last notes of the piano that now fell silent. A guttural murmur rumbled from somewhere deep within the mansion, like the earth itself was trembling. Clara's heart raced. Everything about tonight felt like a fraying thread, begging to be pulled, to unravel the whole tapestry of the Hawthorne family's secrets. She had to act, and fast. Clara glanced back at the piano, hoping some clue might suddenly manifest. Where could she find this locket? Was it hidden in one of the countless rooms, buried beneath the weight of years and neglect? "Just focus," she whispered to herself, taking a deep breath and trying to steady her trembling hands. As the chilling silence enveloped her again, Clara made her decision. She stepped out of the parlor and into the hallway, heart thumping. The portraits lining the walls seemed to follow her, their painted gazes whispering their own secrets, revealing nothing. Clara walked down the dim corridor, holding her breath. The house creaked and groaned, the wood shuddering beneath her feet. Her heart echoed in her ears, drowning out the ominous sounds that whispered from the shadows. She turned each corner cautiously, searching for any telltale sign of the locket. What if she never found it? What if she was too late? The panic churned in her stomach, but she pushed it aside. Clara had never backed down from a challenge. Then she noticed something, a glimmer coming from the small opening of a door slightly ajar at the end of the hall. It flickered like a beacon, drawing her closer, illuminating the path with an allure she could not resist. Clara hesitated, her heart racing at the thought of what lay beyond. But she needed to know. With a deep breath, she gripped the cold handle tightly and pushed the door open. The space beyond was small, filled with dust and cobwebs, but in the center of the room was a chest. Clara couldn't breathe as she stepped inside, feeling the electric energy rolling off of it. Was this where the locket was hidden? When she knelt before the chest, Clara's fingers trembled as she lifted the heavy lid. The darkness spilled out, wrapping around her like a shroud. In that moment, everything changed. "Find me," she heard again, louder than before, and then she saw the locket, glinting against the dark reality. But as her fingers reached for it, a cold wind swept through the room, slamming the chest shut. Clara gasped, heart hammering. Nothing was safe here. And beyond this moment, she knew, waited the truth of the Hawthorne family and whatever it was trying to escape. What had she awakened? And, more importantly, what would she unleash by unearthing the locket? The night had only just begun. Clara stumbled backwards, her heart pounding against her ribcage like a caged animal desperate for freedom. The sound echoed in the hollow room, drowning out the whispering wind that had slammed the chest shut. She could still feel its chill lingering in the air, wrapping around her shoulders like a warning. With a surge of adrenaline, she reached for the lid again, but her hand froze inches away. Images of the ghostly woman loomed in her mind, her fear, her urgency. What if she was right? What if she was too late? Clara felt the walls close in. Gathering her courage, she turned and pushed the door wide open, the creak sounding like a tortured cry in the stillness. The corridor outside felt unnaturally dark, the shadows creeping closer as if eager to swallow her whole. "Find me," the voice echoed again, seemingly from everywhere and nowhere. She had to move. Scrambling into the hallway, she recalled the woman's words. The locket was key. But what did it unlock? Questions swirled, each one tightening the knot in her stomach further. What had she awakened? Determined, Clara retraced her steps back down the corridor, eyes scanning the walls for anything remotely related to the locket. The mansion's atmosphere was shifting, charged with an energy she couldn't explain. Suddenly, Clara stopped. A distant creaking echoed through the air, a door swinging on its hinges. She strained to listen, her breath caught in her throat, the silence now punctuated by a distant thud. Not her imagination. Something was moving. "Hello?" she called, her voice trembling and scarcely a whisper. No reply, merely another echoing groan from the depths of the house. With each step she took, shadows danced along the walls. The portraits seemed to watch her, their eyes relentless, but she pressed forward, dread fueling her resolve. She had to find the locket before the menace the spirit warned her about overtook her at the hallway's end. A faint light shimmered beneath a slightly ajar door that hadn't been there before. Clara felt the pull again, a magnetic force drawing her toward it. Did that light promise answers or deeper danger? With cautious determination, she pushed the door open, stepping into a room illuminated by the soft glow of a single flickering candle. The sight nearly stole her breath. An antique vanity stood against the wall, its surface cluttered with trinkets that felt out of place, like remnants from another time. Her eyes were drawn to something resting on the vanity, a small, ornate box, intricately carved. Could this be where the locket lay hidden? As she approached, her skin prickled with awareness. Every instinct told her to tread carefully, yet curiosity tugged at her thoughts. She reached out to lift the lid, but before she could touch it, a piercing scream shattered the quiet. Clara jumped back, heart racing. The sound echoed through the house, filled with anguish and fury. "Help!" A voice shrieked, its source lost in the fabric of the mansion's darkness. Panting, Clara grappled with her emotions. Something profound was happening everywhere around her. She couldn't just stand still. In the chaos of uncertainty, she decided to face the source of the scream. With fiery resolve, she turned toward the doorway. Would she be ready for whatever awaited her on the other side? Or would the mansion claim her as it had claimed so many before? Clara felt a surge of courage. The night was far from over, and she was about to plunge deeper into the heart of the mystery, but with each unanswered scream, the shadows grew thicker, weaving a web of foreboding. What spectral force was at play? And would Clara emerge from this terrifying journey, or would she become just another ghost in the halls of the Hawthorne mansion? Clara stepped into the hallway, her breath hitching in her throat. The scream still echoed in her mind, a chilling reminder of the danger lurking nearby. She hesitated for a moment, weighing her options, but urgency pulled her forward. Every part of her screamed to run, but a deeper instinct urged her to find the source of the voice, whatever it might bring. She moved cautiously down the dim corridor. The walls seemed to close in tighter. The paintings, once curious faces, now appeared hostile, their expressions twisted in accusation, watching her every move. She shivered, the cold creeping under her skin, and the hairs on her arms stood erect. Help! The scream sounded again, closer now. Please, someone. Clara picked up her pace, almost breaking into a sprint. She reached the end of the corridor and stood before a heavy oak door slightly ajar. It creaked ominously inviting as she pushed it open, revealing a room swamped in shadows, illuminated only by the flickering of a dying flicker of candlelight. Stepping inside, she surveyed the space, half expecting to find the source of the cries tangled in the darkness. Her heart skipped a beat when she spotted a figure slumped against the far wall, a young woman, disheveled and pale, her long hair spilling over her shoulders like a dark curtain. Clara rushed toward her, instinct kicking in. Are you okay? Clara knelt beside the figure, lifting her chin gently. The woman's eyes fluttered open, swimming with fear. Clara, the woman whispered, her voice barely a breath. You've come, you have to help me. He is coming for me. Who? Who's coming? Panic laced Clara's words. She scanned the room, searching for threats. The woman's gaze darted around, as if she could sense something dark hovering just out of sight. The locket, it binds us, you must find it before it's too late. Clara felt her heart lurch. Do you know where it is? They have it, the ones who took me, the ones who need it. The woman's voice trailed off, and her eyes widened in horror. He is here. A rush of cold air swept through the room, extinguishing the candlelight. In an instant, the oppressive darkness deepened, swallowing Clara whole with an almost tangible presence. The door slammed shut behind her, leaving no escape, and an icy dread crawled over her skin. Get out, Clara shouted, desperation clinging to her words. But the woman merely stared past her, her breath quickening, distorted by fear. Clara followed the woman's gaze, and her stomach dropped as she noticed the shadows shifting in the corners. A menacing figure loomed from the dark, a towering silhouette that seemed to suck the very light from the air. Clara's pulse thundered in her ears as she stumbled backward. What do you want? She demanded, though her voice quivered. Your fate is bound to this mansion, girl, the figure replied, its voice low and dripping with malice. The locket is but a piece of the puzzle. You must choose. Clara felt the walls closing in, panic clawing at her throat. What choice? The figure chuckled, the sound hollow and mocking. To save her, or to save yourself? The chilling reality of the decision weighed on Clara, the tension splitting the air. She felt time freeze, the moment stretching as fear gripped her heart. Suddenly, a flicker of hope ignited. She remembered the ornate box still waiting on the vanity, perhaps with clues about the locket, perhaps the truth. With renewed energy, she turned to face the shadows. I'll find the locket, Clara called out, her voice steadying with determination. I won't let you take her. The figure's laughter boomed, drowning her conviction in dread. But will you uncover the truth before it consumes you, or will you vanish into my darkness? Clara felt the shadows tightening their grip around her, the echo of the young woman's silent pleas urging her on. She had to make it back to the vanity, but with each step, every heartbeat became a countdown. The mansion held more secrets than she ever imagined. What lay between the walls of this cursed abode? The truth was lurking just ahead, waiting to ensnare her. With her heart pounding fiercely, Clara braced herself. The race was on, and failure would mean losing everything. But one burning question lingered in her mind. What price would she pay to unlock the door to her past? Clara spun on her heel, adrenaline surging through her veins. The air had thickened, pressing against her like a weighted cloak, filled with the scent of mold and secrets. She ran back toward the vanity, her sneakers slapping against the cold stone floor. Each step was a challenge against the encroaching shadows that whispered her name, taunting her with every breath she took. Focus, Clara. Just get the box. She urged herself, fighting against the suffocating panic that threatened to swallow her whole. She skidded to a halt in front of the ornate vanity, her hands trembling as she grabbed the intricate box. Relief washed over her when she felt its weight, but it quickly morphed into anxiety when she realized the woman still clung to life, lifeless against the dim walls, eyes wide with despair. Clara's heart raced. The figure's voice echoed in her mind. Save her or save yourself. Clara fumbled to open the box, her fingers grazing the smooth surface. It creaked open reluctantly, revealing an assortment of rusted trinkets, dusty papers, and something that shimmered faintly in the candlelight, an old locket. She felt a faint pull toward it, like a magnet drawing her closer, yet dread hung heavy over the room. The woman's eyes shifted in urgency, tracking Clara's movements. What's in there? You must find the truth. What truth? Please tell me. Clara gasped, fear rising like bile in her throat. Suddenly, the wind howled through the cracks of the mansion, rattling the window panes and sending a shiver creeping down Clara's spine. She turned, half expecting to see the shadowy figure reemerging, but the room remained still. The whispers grew louder, a cacophony of voices pulling her in different directions, each offering a glimpse of terror interlaced with her growing dread. She hesitated, her pulse racing. The locket gleamed more brightly now, teasing her with its promise. As she reached for it, the corners of her mind began to swim with fragmented memories, images of laughter, warmth, and a vibrant world beyond the dark confines of this haunted mansion. But then an icy touch clutched her heart, reminding her of the woman's plight. Clara snatched the locket and cradled it against her palm. She could feel the cool metal thrum with energy. What do I do with it? She asked, turning back to the woman, whose gaze had turned wild with desperation. Open it. Open it now? The woman gasped, her voice slicing through the tension like a knife. Clara's breath hitched as she flicked open the locket. Instead of a picture, it bore a glowing inscription that pulsed with light. A single word emerged that echoed through the dark: freedom. But was freedom for her? For the woman? Or were they just pawns in the figure's twisted game? Suddenly, the laughter from the dark figure thundered around them, shaking the air and sending Clara stumbling back. You think that is all it takes? Your choices come with a price. No more doubt. Clara locked her gaze on the woman. We'll face him together. I promise. The woman's expression shifted, a glimmer of hope piercing through her fear. But can you trust me? Trust isn't given. It's earned, Clara stated firmly, adrenaline blazing through her veins. But I'll take that chance. As the shadows writhed and coiled, a doorway materialized from the blackness behind the figure, flickering with a strange energy. Clara's heart thundered with uncertainty. What lies beyond the door? She whispered, fear laced within her tones. Only the truth, the woman replied, her eyes locked on Clara's. But as they moved toward the opening, the figure suddenly lunged forward, its dark hand reaching out, blocking their escape. You've made your choice, but choices can lead to darkness. Just as light becomes trapped in shadows, the grip of the darkness tightened around them as Clara's resolve surged. Determination ignited within her. We will not be imprisoned. With a battle cry that echoed through every corner of the mansion, Clara charged toward the figure, the locket pulling at the fraying edges of her reality. What awaited them beyond the threshold? Would they brave the truth or succumb to the terror that dwelled within? The fate of more than just themselves hung in the balance. Clara collided with the figure, a surge of energy zipping through her body as if she struck a live wire. The shadows surged, howling, threatening to engulf her whole. But her determination transformed her fear into a blazing force, deflecting the figure's cold grip. Move, she shouted, pulling the woman with her. Together, they pushed toward the doorway, which crackled with energy, alive with possibilities. Hold on to the locket, the woman urged, her voice steady amid the chaos. It can guide us. Clara clutched it tightly, its coolness grounding her. As she neared the threshold, a blinding light burst forth, momentarily blinding her. She stumbled but didn't falter. The promise of freedom beckoned like a lighthouse in the stormy night. With one last breath, she burst through the doorway. The world shifted, its weight lifting, shadows receding like a bad dream. They tumbled into the unknown, where blinding light swallowed them whole. The chaos fell silent. For a moment, everything halted. Clara blinked, her surroundings coming into focus. They stood on a grassy knoll, the wind whispering around them, carrying with it the scent of jasmine and freedom. A sun-drenched landscape unfolded, vibrant colors bursting in stark contrast to the darkness from which they had escaped. "Where are we?" Clara's voice trembled with awe, eyes wide as she surveyed the open expanse. The woman looked around, a mixture of disbelief and wonder painted across her features. "It feels like a sanctuary, but we must remain cautious." Just as she spoke, shadows slinked across the ground, creeping toward them. Clara's heart raced as she felt the stirrings of dark energy gathering at the edges of this paradise. "What is happening?" "We're not safe yet," the woman said, urgency flooding her tone. "That figure it will come for us still. This is only a temporary refuge." "Then what do we do?" Clara pressed, panic threatening to spill over. "We confront it," the woman replied sharply. "The locket, it's our key, but only if we are willing to accept the truth of our own pasts." The sun's brilliance dimmed slightly, overshadowed by an encroaching darkness that twisted the edges of their sanctuary. Clara hesitated, questions hammering in her mind. What truth? What if it was not what they wanted to hear? The woman grasped Clara's hands tightly. "You have to trust me. This locket chose you for a reason. It's a part of both of us, our stories intertwined. The darkness feeds on confusion and doubt." Clara felt a sudden surge of loss, a swirling kaleidoscope of memories that wasn't entirely her own. The laughter, the tears, the shadows of another life pressing against her. "But what if I'm not strong enough?" "You are stronger than you think," the woman insisted, her gaze firm and bright. "We face this together." Before Clara could respond, the dark figure erupted from the shadows, its laughter echoing through their sanctuary like the clanging of doom. "Foolish girls. You think you can escape? The truth will bind you tighter than any chain." Clara's heart raced, but the locket pulsed gently against her palm, whispering promises of courage. She turned to face the looming figure, resolve hardening within her. "We'll see about that." The locket glowed fiercely, illuminating their surroundings like a supernova. The shadows recoiled, and an unshakable feeling coursed through Clara. This was their moment. But as the darkness writhed and twisted, blurring the lines between fear and bravery, she heard a faint, haunting melody coming from the locket, a haunting lullaby that spoke to her soul. "What is that sound?" Clara wondered aloud, fear mixing with curiosity. The woman's eyes widened. "It's calling to you. Follow it, and you'll find the truth we seek." Clara took a deep breath, prepared to step into the light. But would it lead them to liberation or deeper into the abyss? As the shadows circled around them, doubt crept back in. The choice loomed before them, heavy and foreboding. The only path forward was shrouded in uncertainty. Would they uncover the truths that could set them free, or would the darkness claim them both? Clara felt the weight of their perilous journey resting simply on her shoulders. The moment Clara took that defining step, everything shifted. The shadows recoiled, gasping as if her movement had disrupted some dark spell. A chill raced through the air, wrapping Clara in an eerie embrace. The song from the locket swelled, filling her mind with echoes of laughter and tears, pulling her deeper into its embrace. "Don't let it go," the woman yelled, urgency weaving through her words as Clara felt a tug at her consciousness. "You must remember." The ground trembled beneath them, urging Clara to remember fragments of her existence. Faces flashed before her eyes, a joyous celebration of birthdays, whispered secrets among friends, and the warmth of a loving embrace. Each memory cloaked in a radiant light, yet shadowed by loss. "Focus," the woman urged, her voice barely cutting through a rising tempest. Shadows lashed out like thunder, clawing at Clara's resolve. The dark figure's laughter rumbled like distant thunder, mocking their frail sanctuary. "You think memories can save you? They'll only trap you." Clara's heart thundered. Her grip on the locket tightened. "I want to be trapped," she shouted, determination igniting her spirit. "I will face the truth." A searing light erupted from the locket, spilling warmth through her veins. The shadows shrieked, recoiling as if burned by the brightness. They danced and twisted but struggled to maintain their form against the onslaught of radiant energy that Clara summoned. "Close your eyes," the woman commanded, her voice strong and steady as Clara felt the weight of the world press against her. "Let the locket guide you." In that instant, Clara closed her eyes, loosening doubts that had chained her to fear. She drew on the memories, the authentic, beautiful moments, and wove them together into a tapestry of strength. Lights swirled around her, resonating with every heartbeat. Then everything came crashing back. A truth, enveloped in light and shadow, broke through. Clara saw it clearly. Her mother's eyes, full of pain and sorrow, the locket of family heirloom burdened with untold stories. The woman beside her was not just an ally. She was a shared reflection, a piece of the puzzle that connected Clara to a past she had buried. "Remember with me," Clara cried, and with a deep breath, she embraced the memories of love buried under layers of hurt. It was painful yet empowering. Each recollection made her more resolute, the melody growing louder, guiding her through the labyrinth of her history. I see everything," she gasped. The shadows writhed violently, their form flickering as Clara found her voice in the memories. "I have lost much, but I am not lost." The shadows cowered, snarling. "You dare defy what defines you?" "Yes," Clara roared back, her spirit flaring to life. "I choose who I am." In that moment, the figure lunged, but Clara thrust the locket forward. A brilliant wave of light burst forth, washing over everything, consuming the darkness. The shadows screamed, evaporating into nothingness, leaving Clara standing, breathless but unbroken. The woman smiled, her expression filled with pride and relief. "You did it." But then, a dreadful whisper crept back, one laden with dread and uncertainty. This was just the beginning. Clara's heart dropped. What did that mean? The locket pulsed gently in her hand, but the melody grew dim. Shadows shattered, but other questions lingered in the silence. The truth she fought for now felt like a distant shadow creeping at the edges of her vision. "Clara, we've only begun to uncover what lies ahead." Her voice trembled slightly. "More truths await us, deeper than we can imagine." As the grass beneath them shimmered and the light flickered uncertainly, Clara felt the weight of more uncertainties brewing ahead. What connections still lay tethered to the locket? And what awaited them beyond this moment of victory? The shadows may have retreated, but darkness is never truly gone. It waits in the wings, looming larger than before. Would she have the strength to face the truths yet hidden? The pulse of the locket grew faint, and their journey was far from over. The air crackled with anticipation. Shadows had slipped away, but a dense silence draped over Clara and the woman who looked eerily familiar. Clara's heart raced, the locket still warm in her palm, pulsing like a heartbeat echoing in her ears. What does it mean? What more could possibly be out there? The woman's smile flickered, fading into a look of concern. "The locket holds truths that your mind has yet to comprehend. We must trust its pull." She looked toward the horizon, where darkness clung to the edges of an uncertain dawn. Clara tried to steady her breath. "But what if it leads us to more shadows?" "It's possible," she said, swallowing heavily. "But it's also the only way to uncover what we still need to know." Every instinct screamed at Clara to turn back, to flee from the darkness lurking just outside their moment of triumph. But the power of the locket and the haunting whispers of her past demanded she push forward. The ground vibrated again, this time with intensity. Clara felt it in her bones, a tremor that matched the chaos coursing through her. "What do we do?" "Follow the light," the woman said, pointing ahead as a faint glow emerged from between the trees, beckoning them closer. Clara felt the locket vibrate with a resonance that seemed to echo in her very soul. She grabbed the woman's hand. "Together, right? Always." Their resolve stitched tightly, they moved toward the glow, each step etched with uncertainty and hope. As they ventured deeper into the woods, the shadows shifted around them, whispering taunts that clawed at Clara's mind. "You are nothing without us. You can't escape. You will remember." "No," Clara replied, her voice steadying as she channeled the warmth from the locket. "You don't control me anymore." The trees bore witness as they pressed on, and the air grew thick with mist. Suddenly, they reached a clearing. Starlight cascaded down like shards of glass, illuminating a massive stone with intricate carvings. The locket pulsed fiercely in Clara's hand, resonating with the stone beneath their feet. "What is this place?" Clara whispered, awestruck and fearful all at once. The carvings depicted scenes, familiar yet disjointed, moments from her life that resonated with deeper truths: pain, joy, love, and heartbreak. "Your history lives here reflected," the woman replied. "You must confront it fully. It will not be easy." The stone glimmered, drawing Clara closer. The carvings beckoned her to touch. It pulsated music. Her mother's song echoed softly, wrapping around her like a familiar blanket. Yet every note carried the weight of undiscovered mysteries. "What do I do?" Clara murmured, glancing at the woman who still appeared like a mirage between shadows and light. "Place the locket against the stone. Together we will uncover the secrets hidden within those carvings." A swell of fear gripped Clara. "And if I can't face what comes next?" "Then we fight together. We embrace it. Remember, the truth may hurt, but it also frees." Clara took a deep breath, her heart thundering as she stepped forward. Determined, she pressed the locket against the stone. Energy surged through the clearing. The carvings began to shimmer, revealing memories that danced around her, flashing in and out like stars flickering against the tapestry of night. But just as Clara felt the connection deepen, the shadows returned, twisting, howling, their forms materializing with sinister delight. "You're unearthing the past, you're sealed in it now." A cacophony of voices bore down on her, clawing at her thoughts, threatening to unravel her focus. "No, I refuse to be bound by shadows," Clara roared, pulling the woman alongside her as the memories surged, the sorrow, the joy, every vivid moment exploding in a storm around them both. As the stone glowed brighter, shadows writhed in fury. The light flickered erratically, and every part of Clara screamed to look away. But she couldn't. The truth was there, the last remnants of memories untouched, yet pleading to be released. And then, just as the shadows lunged to consume them, an instinct surged within Clara. She had to choose. What would she fight for? The answer lingered as dread spiraled around her with a final scream. She embraced the light, but what escaped her lips was nothing she had expected. "I choose to believe in myself." The shadows shrieked in agony, and the ground beneath them trembled violently, as if they had awakened something ancient and powerful. Would they both emerge unscathed? Or would the darkness reclaim its hold? The locket blazed fiercely, but with that pulse began to fade. Where would the truth lead them next? The echoes of Clara's declaration reverberated through the clearing, enveloping the darkness with a radiant light that pulsed like a heartbeat. The shadows hissed, twisting and writhing as if they were alive, frantically trying to escape the truth she had unearthed. "I choose to believe in myself," she had declared, and those words became a shield against the encroaching dark. The ground shifted beneath her feet, solidifying under the force of her resolve. The stone glowed brighter, illuminating the intricate carvings that depicted not just anguish, but love, family, and the warmth of belonging that had once filled her life. Clara felt the presence of her mother swirling in the light, strong, guiding, unwavering. "Together," Clara shouted, clutching the locket tightly in her palm, its energy sinking to her heartbeat, fueling her courage. The woman beside her mirrored her determination, eyes ablaze with hope. They stood united, a profound bond forged in shared secrets and the fight for freedom. That as shadows lunged, Clara felt fear turn to strength. She would not yield. "We'll face the storm together. You can't have us." Their voices combined in harmony, a defiance that resonated through the air. The shadows shrieked, losing form and shape as if they were made of smoke caught in a gust of wind. Clara pressed her palm against the stone, and the moment the locket met the surface, a shock wave of light erupted, pushing the darkness further and further away, revealing a portal of vivid colors surging into the sky. Memories danced in the light, each one a testament to her past and the person she had chosen to become. Suddenly, the tall figure re-emerged from the darkness, filling the horizon, but Clara stood undeterred. "You can't take away what I've regained," she yelled, her voice drowning out the figure's sinister laughter. "Your past is your chain," the figure taunted back, eyes gleaming like coal. "You will never escape its grasp." But Clara understood now. Her past no longer held her captive. It was her foundation, her truth, the energy that fueled her desires. I have redefined my fate, she shouted into the vastness. You have no power over me. With that proclamation, a blinding light erupted from the stone, pulsing around Clara and the woman in arcs of brilliance. The shadows shrieked and writhed, becoming vapor-like, dissolving into nothingness against the pure force of Clara's choice. The energy spread outwards, illuminating the night sky and casting away the darkness that had, for too long, blanketed the mansion and its history. The clearing grew quiet. The anguish subsided, the shadows turning to dust behind them. Clara stood breathless, the echoes of her triumph resonating within and around her. The woman smiled, her visage shifting, and Clara realized this was her mother, freed from chains of sorrow. You did it, my brave girl, her mother spoke softly, tears shimmering in her eyes, freedom radiating from her very being. You've released me. Clara shook her head, overwhelmed. No, I found you. We're free now. Together. As the remnants of shadows faded into the night, the scenery shifted, revealing pathways lined with possibility. Each road was bathed in warm light, leading to new adventures, healing, and hope. You must keep the locket, her mother said solemnly, placing her hands delicately on Clara's shoulders. It holds the power of our truths. Take care of it, and it will guide you always. Clara nodded, her heart brimming with gratitude. I promise. I'll carry our story with me. The sky above began to unveil a bright dawn, illuminating their path ahead, clearing the remnants of the dark night behind them. They embraced, wrapped in the warmth that only love could offer, and as Clara stepped away, they shared a knowing smile. They were now free from the mansion that had been a cage, from the haunting memories that had weighed her down, and from the lingering, aching shadows of the past. As she walked toward the light, Clara felt unburdened. With every step, she was not just the maid in the shadows of the Hawthorne family. She was the architect of her destiny, ready to build a life filled with joy, wholeness, and abundant possibilities. And with one final glance over her shoulder, the mansion stood silent, a monument to her transformation, reminding her of how far she had come. Goodbye, Clara whispered. Thank you for setting us free. Right now, you need to take action. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button now, show the love, and help feed this algorithm. Flood the comments section below with your thoughts and theories about this incredible conclusion. And don't wait even one more second, instantly share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful finale. Only true fans know how vital your support is. Let's keep this momentum going.